I'm Marina Kim, and these are the latest updates from Kazakhstan. Yevgeny Zhovtis will continue serving his term in the colony as the supervisory board of the Supreme Court rejected the appeal submitted by attorney Vitaly Voronov.
This is the last chance for attorney Vitaly Voronov to defend his old friend, human rights activist Yevgeny Zhovtis. The last two attempts at the district and regional courts failed, and now the lawyer appeals to the supervisory board of the Supreme Court, although using the same arguments as last time.
My client has reconciled with the family of the dead and compensated the inflicted damages. Besides, the committed crime is considered to be of moderate severity.
Zhovtis, a well-known public figure, was convicted for a fatal traffic accident. After the prosecutor questioned the defendant's attorney, he asked the court to deny revising the sentence, saying that the reconciliation papers are useless. Apparently, one family member signed the documents for 3 others. Moreover, the state prosecutor questioned the validity of the reconciliation itself.
In his appeal, Zhovtis said he sees no fault in the committed crime and doesn't plead guilty. Hence, there can be no reconciliation with another party.
In response, the attorney accused the prosecutor in the substitution of notions. The dispute, however, did not affect the jury's decision, and it upheld the previous sentence, noting that Zhovtis should have pleaded guilty.
When a defendant pleads guilty and shows repentance, the family of the deceased can forgive this person. This is what is called a positive behavior of a liable person.
Vitaly Voronov says that he has never encountered a legal term positive behavior of a liable person, simply because it is not in the criminal law of Kazakhstan. Now Zhovtis himself is left with a chance to prove his innocence. Attorney Voronov does not know yet whether his client will use it or not.
During the weekend, the police confiscated all copies of the magazine Spectre Razvitia from activists of the unregistered party Alga. The issue was dedicated entirely to the prosecution of Yevgeny Zhovtis. The next report has more.
On Monday, the police of Astana confiscated printed materials from the activists of unregistered party Alga. Traffic policemen stopped the organization's car at 7 a.m. near the capital's railway station, while the officers of the Sarayarka District Internal Affairs Department were also at the site. After examining the trunk, the law enforcement agents confiscated 10 newspapers Alga and Zhas Kazakh, as well as 262 copies of the magazine Spectre Razvitia. The party members say that the real reason for these actions is the topics raised by the publications.
Almost entirely, these publications were devoted to Yevgeny Zhovtis, whose appeal is reviewed on Monday. That's why these materials were confiscated.
Ruslan Simbinov claims that no arrest reports or confiscation documents were filed at the scene, and the activists were told by the police that the newspapers and magazines are needed for some examination.
These and other minor violations imply that the arrest was illegal and done with contradictions of the Kazakh legislation.
The police demanded the activists of Alga to write explanations, but instead party members submitted a complaint to the administration of the Sarayarka District Internal Affairs Department. The administration had, though, refused to comment on the situation. You should talk to the Regional Internal Affairs Department. The confiscated copies of the magazine Spectre Razvitia, the development spectrum, was devoted to the criminal case of the human rights activist Yevgeny Zhovtis, currently serving a 4-year term. The reviews of his appeal was scheduled for Monday in the Supreme Court. The activists of Alga plan to show their support to Zhovtis by distributing their publications.
Meanwhile, the party Alga was once again declined the official registration. The municipal court judge Askar Isabekov needed only a few minutes to assess the situation and leave unchanged the decision of the district court.
This March, the leader of the unregistered party Alga, Vladimir Kozlov, lost yet another trial. He asked to revoke the decision of the registration committee, which slowed down the party's registration process. The court, however, questioned the validity of submitted documents, saying that some members were accepted into organization without their consent, and party lists include names of people long dead. This allowed the registration committee to postpone the registration yet again, asking for additional 20,000 applications to join Alga. Vladimir Kozlov refused, calling the situation absurd.
The court decision was predictable, although it is not based on any law and lacks common sense. It is quite possible that the officials are simply implementing the directive to prevent the party Alga from showing up on the political arena.
The prosecutor of the Astana Inter-District Economic Court asked the judge to sentence the former Emergency Vice Minister Ablay Sabdalin to 12 years of maximum security imprisonment for the abuse of power and bribery in especially large amounts.
The hearing continued after a 2-month break, during which specialists had to examine the package with money for Sabdalin's fingerprints. The prosecution and judge, however, declined the procedure, saying it is not necessary. In her turn, attorney Venera Kim demanded to fully acquit her client. Furthermore, she stated that the criminal case was fabricated and rather a provocation of the financial police. Ablay Sabdalin was accused of giving a bribe of $30,000 to a financial police officer for his inaction during the pre-investigation checks. Supposedly, violations done by the emergency vice minister during the state procurements caused the state damage in the amount of more than $2 million. The criminal case was initiated illegally back during the pretrial investigation, and the fake reasons were later confirmed during the court hearing.
Meanwhile, President Nursultan Nazarbayev visited Almaty and specifically one of the most famous protracted construction projects of the country, the city subway. Find out more from the next report.
Nursultan Nazarbayev conducted a working visit of Almaty's protracted in-development projects. Among them was the city's subway, the construction of which was launched 22 years ago, and $8 billion spent. Officials say that another $200 million are needed. In response, Kazakh president confirmed that the necessary financing will be provided.
I think that we will be able to please Almaty residents by launching this vital subway in the time for the 20th anniversary of Kazakh independence.
The next stop for the president was the housing complex Bukhar-Zhirau. The 4-storied apartment blocks cost $1,036 million, half of which was covered by the interest holders, while a quarter by the National Fund Samruk Kazana. This is one of the very successful shared construction projects in the country.
Our success can be evaluated by the number of suits filed against the company. There are none. All of our interest holders are happy.
The state might provide at least some support to construction interest holders, unlike mortgage borrowers who seemingly have no hope left in the current situation. Today, the president has once again said that the credits will have to be repaid, which means that there will be no credit amnesty. No press was allowed at the presentation of the National Bank's new office. Evidently, the bill on the protection of bank customers, which was discussed inside, is too secret for a public discussion. The bill is currently being reviewed by the parliament. It is somewhat populistic in nature, since it includes the proposals of our problematic clients, whom I personally consider parasitical. According to the information of the Kazakh Financiers Association, around 30% of all internal loans cannot be paid back at the moment. Nevertheless, banks' representatives say that they will simply cannot yield. That is until the president specifically asks about it.
The unprecedented acts of generosity were also demonstrated on Monday by the Kazakh government. During a conference call, the cabinet had ordered every region of the country to allocate $330,000 to the victims of spring floods in East Kazakhstan region.
Also, in the nearest future, Kazakhstan will send 3,000 tons of diesel fuel to Kyrgyzstan, as was agreed a week ago during the meeting between the chairman of Kyrgyz interim government Almazbek Atambayev and Kazakh Prime Minister Karim Masimov.
On Saturday, the government signed a resolution to allocate humanitarian aid to Kyrgyzstan in the form of 3,000 tons of diesel fuel. This will allow them to have a proper sowing campaign.
Yet another promise to leave Kyrgyzstan's presidential post was not fulfilled by Kurmanbek Bakiyev. As soon as he left Kazakhstan, the exiled leader made a statement which contradicted everything he has done and said while in Taras.
Meanwhile, many officials, including the spokesman for Kazakh Foreign Ministry, refrained from commenting on the statements and actions of Kurmanbek Bakiyev. On April 23rd in Minsk, where the exiled president was invited by the Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, Bakiyev said he did not consider himself unemployed, as he signed the resignation declaration in Taras under severe pressure.
We refrain from commenting at this time.